This podcast is distributed for general informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to constitute legal, tax, accounting, or investment advice. The information, opinions, and views contained herein are our own and may be subject to change at any time without prior notice. All investment strategies and investment involve risk of loss. Any reference in investment, past, or potential performance is not and should not be construed as a recommendation or as a guarantee of any specific outcome or profit.
Stocks.
Hey guys, here we are back with Venue Ventures, Jeremy and Nate. And we're
Hello.
just gonna chat away, talking about whatever. Who
Yeah.
knows? There's a few things that have happened.
Yeah, just a slight eventful Monday, that's for certain. I quite amazed, to see what has gone on today, and I know that most people that have holdings probably had a pretty decent day. Nate, he's over here just I don't know.
Well,
his clothes are just now back on after all the excitement. Had to clean up from all the mess.
Most everybody knows, the four people that listen is I'm heavy crypto, obviously, and good old Elon Musk.
Uncle Elon.
This is what we've talked about before when he came out and said it's inevitable. When do we do Bitcoin? How do I get it into my company? And he did 1.5 billion, about 10% of their cash holdings for Tesla, and it's the tip of the spear.
Yeah.
So he was tweeting Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy about this because he's the one that came through. He's been the big voice of take your cash in your business, put it into Bitcoin.
Michael Saylor or Elon?
Michael Saylor.
Okay.
And so he had been tweeting about it a lot, and they had a little tweet back and forth, like, are Bitcoin purchases of that size, are you able to do that? And he said, yes, DM me kind of thing. And it was a big deal. People were like, oh, crap, watch
here
this.
it comes.
And then, things kind of kept moving. And then we had this little Elon fake out candle, which was this little spot right here where he just put Bitcoin into his Twitter, basically his bio. It just had Bitcoin in the little symbol.
That's all he put was Bitcoin.
That's all I put. And then, it ripped right back down. And then it just steadily went up and up and up. And then last night he posted that they had, there was an SEC filing. So basically saying, hey, we got 1.5 billion. And so the other thing is Michael Saylor, I think it was last weekend, they just had a symposium where they had 1,400 businesses that were basically listening to a bunch of the people from MicroStrategy of how to, take your money and put it into Bitcoin to be able to hedge against inflation, whatever else you want to do, some type of investment, that kind of thing. 1,400 companies. And these aren't, mom and pop's donut shops. So these are big companies that were doing this. So in Tesla, tip of the spear. They're big company, richest man in the world. Like, okay. So, I mean, it's like, I don't know how to quell my excitement right now.
Like I said, he's just now put his clothes back on. He's just been, there was quite a mess that was here that he had to clean up. So it's something that you've been pretty well banging the drum on the possibility of this for the longest time. I mean, for the 3 people that have listened, or 2 people, are we up to 4 people that listen now? Maybe 4.
I haven't actually looked at the actual stats. So,
well, every time I listen to it, it counts as 1. So
so we have 5 listens
Yeah.
because I listened to it 3 times.
Yeah, there we go. No, I think you've been banging the drum since well before the start of the year, but even especially then on where you think this could run to, and this is kind of playing out almost exactly as you drew it up. I want to say 2 weeks ago.
Well, let's just look at this little bad boy that I had sitting here for a while.
Yeah, there you go.
So, I mean, if we look at here, just the year when we, closed out the year, it's just been following the same pattern, just moving on up.
Moving on up.
Moving on up. Sitting at the 1618 here is a little stopping point. Maybe we'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of momentum with this news that came out. So I don't know. It's
so for everybody that's out there looking at the potential of adding to their overall portfolio or holdings of this, right now, if you were looking at things, would you prognosticate that there is going to be a slight pullback here in the near term future, or you think this is going to be a continued rising number?
I don't. I think we had our little slight pullback when we look at
down in like the 29s.
Yeah, so we hit 40K, 41K.
Yeah,
in the beginning of January, and then we dropped down back into 28, 29K.
Yeah,
and that all the way until just yesterday when we ripped up. So we had over a month, just about a month of consolidation. I think that was it for the midterm for right now.
Yeah.
I think we'll get another pullback.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be. I think we get some movement up to probably 50. Let me get a different.
Your little purple line deal.
Yeah, this one I just like to do for large time frames.
Yeah.
So if you look at this, the fib levels coming up here, because really after you go, blue sky growth, it's fib levels are the only thing you can really go by to see where it's going. I think 47 is going to be our first little test.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it holds for very long.
Okay.
Couple days maybe, and then I think we see the 50s, 53 to 56, and again I don't think that's going to hold but much more than maybe a week or two, and then I think we see up to 70, and I think we rip up into there.
Nice.
Then I think we see another pullback, kind of like we did here, 30%, 20% dip, and then a little consolidation for maybe another month, which would kind of play into the whole March-April timeframe.
Yep.
I think that's kind of what we see this rip up for the next month until the middle of March, and then another pullback from March-April, and then it's moon time. Moon time, 6 figures, 100K.
Hey, that'd be a welcome for a lot of people, I think, especially
100K by May.
Man, that would just be phenomenal. So as far as when it comes up to those levels, if it does a 30% pullback and it gets up to 70K, let's say. So a 30% pullback would be down in the 450 or 50s.
I think 50. Yeah, if you go 70, this 60. If you go to this fib level 68, which you probably rip above 70, even if it goes up to the 77, you're looking at 50, 55.
Whenever I'm looking at stuff for buying stuff on sale or anything along those lines, if I were looking at these charts here, I would probably guesstimate, based off of my limited capabilities, that the time to buy would have been, back when it was in that 28, 29 range when you were recommending it.
It's funny because I've had no less than 10 phone calls and texts today. Should I buy Bitcoin now?
No.
And the funny part is most of them I've been talking to over the last month, when it ripped up to 40K. And I was like, look, anything that you see in the 30s, low 30s, buy it up. None of them. Well,
no,
I shouldn't say none of them. Some of them did, but it was like it's like, I get it though. How can it be that high? How can it be that, they don't spend the amount of time I do looking at this and understanding, the institutional buyers that are coming in, the just different platforms that are being built around Bitcoin and the other cryptocurrencies. I mean, it's just the ecosystem is growing so much. It's ridiculous. So,
well, and when you look at things too, as far as investable securities or anything that's looking at investable, whenever it's up to this height, if it continues to make this run, then you certainly have exit points if you get nervous along the way that are going to allow for you to get out if you overall get scared or something along those lines. But I would look at this and say, I know for myself, I increased some of my personal exposure to some of the crypto stuff, but I was restricted on being able to purchase GBTC through Ally Invest, and certainly there's nothing that's perfect on the security side of things of being able to get full exposure to Bitcoin right now that I'm aware of. It's all those backdoor or back way of your GBTCs, your
Bitwise, Ethy.
Yeah, those types of holdings to get the exposure that I was looking for. I certainly know for myself that my comfort level is not necessarily having more than, or at the time of purchase, I didn't want more than 10%. Now, obviously, as it grows, then your overall exposure grows in comparison to how your other investments are doing. So For me personally, I saw that 10% as a number that was, hey, I want to have the exposure, but I don't necessarily want to overcommit to something that I'm not 100% behind, similar to
Right.
other people that might be more comfortable with the exposure, i.e. you, and understanding how the overall markets work, understanding the charting, understanding just the various aspects of the Bitcoin world or even the crypto world, understanding alt seasons and those types of things. So I look for myself, and I can understand somewhat of maybe those 10 people that have contacted you today and looking for, hey, should I buy now? Should I buy now? Well, you should have bought last week. And then
It's always last week.
it's always last week, or it's always when that sale was. And in fact, if I could have recommended for anybody to buy back in March, that's what I would have done. And I think I did. We did our best to try to recommend back in March.
Put your money in.
Put your money in. Everything's on sale. It's time to buy, and that's when we fully look to get invested in those regards. But there's I still think a lot of room for growth overall, not only in these crypto worlds, but in the securities world as well. They're warming up the printing presses right now.
And I think I had a few people in the Discord that were asking, like what other things to invest in when they talk about crypto itself, like because you're a institutional, you're a legacy investor, right?
Yeah,
the majority of your stuff is right.
More so, yeah.
And that's what the majority of people are. But how do I get exposure to it? And that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's why Michael Saylor was having these conferences for these businesses. It's like, well, how do I do this? How do I get this? Well, there's other ways that you can do it too that are easier. You can buy. There's blockchain companies. There's mining companies.
Yep.
Like Mara, Riot. You've got
look at those just doing a little jump today, just a slight 40% on both of those,
and they're going to run with Bitcoin. I mean, they're going to, in a sense, they're going to have that same push of Bitcoin. You have, Argo blockchain, which this one's I'm pretty excited about this one just because it's newer. Like
it looks newer. When did it go out? January?
No, December.
Okay,
yep.
So it's only a couple months old.
It's only a couple months old. I think they've bought more miners than any of the other mining companies that are out there.
Wow.
There's a lot of stuff to it. So I'm excited about them. I mean, they haven't even hit their all-time high, even though, Bitcoin is. So there's some room for this to kind of take off and go through with it. You've got Silvergate Capital, which, we have that in our holding as well. And that is the bank basically that backs and utilizes for all the exchanges.
Oh, nice.
Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, all of your large exchanges uses them. And then you've got the BARF. You got BARF. It's another mining.
Farms.
Yeah, it's another blockchain, or it's a mining company.
Mining company. Yeah. So when did they come out? When was
they've been around for a while, but
okay.
You can see the lack of volume as it just dipped down into the end of October, which would have been a beautiful buy, but I didn't even know about them until recently. The other one I forgot about was Hive Blockchain.
Oh, yeah.
So that's another one.
So a lot of that volume, though looks like it was more at the start of the year, obviously, when there was that big all-time high, and then...
Yeah. You get your peaks of volume in the big sells. So if you look at anything, let's look at like T-Quiz. We were just up on T-Quiz.
Yeah.
Because it kind of gives you an overall. If you look at where your peak volumes are, it's always on those big sell sides, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to see some green in there too, but that's where the majority of your sales come through. Same thing here. So if you're getting, that's where in the technical side, if you see volume precedes price. So if you're sitting in a low side, so say it's the opposite this way, right? And then you're kind of in a consolidation. Let me pull up Gala here because this has been a fun one. I have to extend it out because it's gone a little parabolic here lately, but
a little.
Yeah. So if you look at this time right here, so we had this consolidation, and this, if you see this candle is a tiny little candle right here, right? It barely moved, but you look at that volume on that same candle down below, like it was the biggest volume by far.
Up until that point in time. But the price didn't follow.
And the price didn't fall because there was a lot of sells. So you kind of, just because it's green doesn't mean it goes up really high. It's just you had a lot of buy-sell. That was the trigger point for me to put a bunch in at that point in time. I already had been buying and consolidating, but at that point I was like, here we go. We're going to get a little pump because you see all that. It had already been depressed. It had already been consolidating. It had put in some higher lows. You can't really see it here because, again, it was just so low. But and then it ripped up from there, did another consolidation. Who knows what's going on here, man? But it's just been.
With some of the stuff you can explain it with charts, but sometimes you just can't, right?
it's like the thing about Gala that I like, they're a gaming company first. They're using blockchain. They like the concept of blockchain to be able to give it back to the players. Like the stuff that you purchase on there, like your they call them NFTs, your non-fungible tokens, but they're using it for your in-game uses, whether it be like a skin or I always go to first-person shooters or a certain gun or things like that. Well, if you pay for that in a normal game, you don't get it back. You just pay for it, which is great. You get to play it and you get the excitement of it and that kind of thing. But in the blockchain world, they're making it so you own it. So if I buy it, I get to use it and I own it, and then I can sell it to somebody else.
Oh, so if somebody wants it, they could buy it from you or whatever.
Or I could just transfer it to somebody. There's so many levels to it that I could go super deep with it. But these guys are a gaming company first, so they have the blockchain tech behind, but they're not focused on the blockchain. Like they're just using it to make it so they can give it back. So they have a lot of great stuff coming out in their games. Really good developers. They've got a big game that's going to be coming out probably the end of this year. Called Mirandus, and it's a MMORPG, GGB, whatever it is. It's like a one of those role playing. It's
not
Leroy Jenkins. What was that game?
The Dota.
I don't know, man. You're out of my realm. I'm a first person shooter.
Yeah. I
but
don't know.
a lot of people play those games, like a lot, and it's got some killer graphics.
League of Legends or whatever. Isn't that? I don't know what that stuff is.
I'll just pull up a couple of the like pictures that they have on here. So this is some of the graphics that they have going on in the world itself that you're going to be able to kind of maneuver around and have your own adventures. And so it's I like them. I like and I've talked with the developers and the CEO and, just kind of what their visions are and how they're doing. And they're super active in the community too. Like they're not just off in this other directions, and they're focused on how they want to make that game better for everybody that's in it. So it's pretty cool environment, and I've definitely invested a bit in there.
Yeah.
But I gained a lot of it back today.
Goes back to what the saying that I heard yesterday. I really like it. No risk it, no biscuit.
That
is
a good one.
I know you guys heard it during the Super Bowl, but for me, it's before October came along, and my new saying was not my problem. It was no risk it, no biscuit. And sometimes you got to risk it for these types of things that you can see, that you can have a vision in. I like your Gala coins and other things. I know that for myself, I've over the last month, due to this Venue Ventures, trying to pick an overall winning stock for the year type of thing, I find myself getting addicted to certain stocks and certain things that just really, I don't know, they talk to me or something like that. And I fell in love with mine for some reason, and I don't know why. And it's hard to get off of it.
BXRX.
Yeah, BXRX was the one.
Bado.
Don't ask me how to say it.
Bado.
Bodax. Yeah, there it goes. It's one of those things where today I know it had a nice little run up, and then it came back because they issued some type of securities cash grab, basically, more or less. So it was up around the $2 and 11 cents or something like that. And then they, right an hour before the close, they issued some
of course, right before the close,
warranties for future offerings. And then it pulled back really sharply, and then after hours it looks like it's coming back up a bit more too. They report on Thursday, but it's one of those things where you start diving into certain things and you just fall in love with it and you just believe in it.
It says here, but this one can be off. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It says
I
earnings on the 3rd of March.
Okay, I could be wrong too. I don't know much about it, but it's one of those things where you just watch it and you just see if you kind of root for it. I don't have. It's certainly I have a bit in holdings in it, but it's not like all my money's locked into these things because I just can't operate that way. But
yeah, I mean the yearly picks are doing pretty amazing. I think they topped over 100% now, doubling for the year so far in the first month. That's pretty good.
Hey, it means we've got some smart dudes. I think I'm probably the worst underperforming person out of the group.
Yeah.
No,
we got QuantumScape.
Oh, what's
QS QuantumScape? It's been.
Hey, the year's long.
The year's
long. We're only 1 month into it. That's the other thing too, is that it's hard to believe we're into February, and it already seems like the amount of growth that we've had for any of our holdings would be phenomenal for the entire year. And trying to gain perspective on that as a whole is hard to do in these extreme green times that we've been having.
Oh yeah, it's almost just comical sometimes when you look at it and you're like, how? I listened to a podcast the other day. It's a good one. It's the Market Huddle.
Mm-hmm.
You've listened to it with me before on the way back from hunting.
Yeah.
But they have some really good guests on there, and they had a good one on there. Actually, I think I'm still in the middle of it. I have to pull it up so I can tell you which one it is. But so they're talking about this, the situation that came through with the GME GameStop stuff and how that all went down, and they explain it really well, how the short squeeze works and the fundamentals behind it, and the how it comes about. Really good. I highly recommend Market Huddle, just in the fact that they have so much knowledge to impart on any trader, both on the base level all the way up to like more experience when you start talking about options and other crazy stuff. So super good one. Highly recommend those guys. They had one on there too with Ledger Status, who was talking about Bitcoin and the case for Bitcoin. That was another really good one. So I've recommended that one to a few people who want to know, well, why should I buy Bitcoin? So he's way more literate than I am. The guy talks really well. So I'm just a mumble mouth.
No, I think if we talk about financial literacy as far as investing and stuff like that, it is something that, for me personally, I am woefully behind where I should be as far as knowledge base for financial, just doing options, shorts, long, all those types of things. When they make it easy for me to be able to just buy and hold something where I don't even have to think about what's going in and out, I get to be a dummy, I think is the nice part about it.
Yeah, when you look at Soxel.
Well, FNGU is going to be splitting this week.
They should. They're $375 a freaking share.
Yeah, they're going to 10-1, so it's going to be down around where we entered in back in March.
I have to go back here. I'm like, oh, down. Jesus. Wow.
And so it's one of those things where when these funds are going like this, when anything's going like this, is there a point in time where we start to tap the brakes and look and evaluate, okay, it can't continue like this forever. This type of growth or parabolic growth can't continue forever. Everybody knows that. All right?
And no, I don't know that.
Okay, so
I don't know anything. I would guess that would definitely be what I would guess, is that it can't continue forever. But as we look right now, the end time for it is when. I can't give you a date. I can't give you.
Well, I know we can't give a date, but at some point in time, there's got to be some type of signal, right? Is it when they quit printing money? Because everybody's supposed to start getting their checks 2-3 weeks from now, something like that.
I heard it was going out this week.
Okay, so and that's just their next round. There's going to be another round probably.
This is the tip of the spear for the money going out.
So we still have some overall excitement in the market based off the fact that the printing presses are warming up and they're about ready to give us more and more and more. And I say us, it's not for us in the fact that I'm not going to be getting a check. I don't think we're going to be getting checks, but I think what it does for us, our stimulus is coming through the markets being able to shoot up the way that they are. But at some point in time, the reality of things is, were we induced into a false bear market with the COVID after the longest running bull market that we've had for 11 years? So
we needed a little reset. You mean let's bring this reset on to kind of create the liquidity that's needed?
Yeah, no, we've had that liquidity, or we've had the basic bear market. We had the pullback in the GDP. We had the pullback in everything else.
Yeah.
And now we're getting the money pump.
Yeah.
At some point in time, the money pump's going to stop. The banks are going to be starting to increase their interest rates. Are we going to see the pullback, or how much growth are we going to see between now and that point in time? I mean, the yellow line there can extend up.
Let's just go to the end of the year, right? I'm going to put this on the weekly. It'll be a little easier to see. I mean, if we get any kind of trend just going out that route, if it stays on the same trend, right? If it stays on the same trend,
yeah,
you're 5,000 in the S&P. If it stays on that same trend, how does that happen?
it can happen in the fact of if they continue to print the money and that type of stuff. But are we creating a false bull market based off of the liquidity of the available funds that are out there, and that the real pullback in the market that was supposed to happen back due to the COVID or whatever? I mean, it's going to be a revisionist look back.
Always. It always is.
But at what point in time do you prepare yourself for that? Is it when they stop the press? Is it when they raise the rates? Is it when they what's the trigger point? I mean, right now it's easy. I guess I look at I track every day. I track the overall amount under management, growth or loss, on a daily basis. The times that make me the most nervous are when we have the largest amount of growths. And
because we're going to get some kind of dip.
I know that it's the flop, the rubber band, the snapback, whatever you want to say, that it is on the horizon at some point in time. Everybody is too overly confident right now in the markets, and it makes me the most nervous. I felt the best back in March and April on being a buyer and a holder, based off the fact that everybody was pessimistic about where we were going and what was going on. That was when I felt the most comfortable. Right now, everybody's like,
there's no end in sight.
There's no end in sight. This thing goes on forever. Blah blah blah. It makes me the most nervous. And when I had naked running up 2 weeks ago, and it was just it was uncomfortable for me. And so when these type of large growths happen in a short time frame, I'm always looking for, at what point in time does it slow down? Does it stop? Does it pull back and start dropping again? Not that I would typically sell, but I just need to know how much further growth do we have. If we get another 100, 200% growth right from now, and then we have a pullback of 30 or 40%, okay, is that going to be we're still higher than our current numbers. We're still higher than where we're at even before COVID, so...
Well, if you look at this, so this is the S&P.
Okay.
So let's.
I was killing time talking, mumbling on while you were doing the lines on there. So
hypothetically, let's say obviously we're getting a pump. That stuff's like the money's coming in. I've been saying this for a while. The end of February, March timeframe, I think, is where we're going to see the pullback. So hypothetically, this continues up in this general direction, right? In the meantime, right here,
okay.
Right? And so we kind of get to this mid-March timeframe. And we break down from here. I mean, what if we come up to 4,000 for the S&P? Is a drop from here? That's only 5% drop, and then run this trend line up to the next side. I mean, that's still, even running this trend line still gets you, in the end of the year to 48.32.
Jeez, for the S&P.
That's
for the S&P. That's just
25% growth from now. That's not even from the beginning of the year. So,
and you can usually take to the bank that the S&P is going to do anywhere from 8 to 10% annually, if you look over a time frame. 8 to 10%. Yeah, you're going to have your up years, you're going to have your down years. But I think if you were to look out over the last 3 or 4 years, it's been a considerable jump. Over that 8 or 10% growth for that time frame.
The only thing I think in the short term that's really going to bring it down, I think, is some sort of another black swan type event. And having two in consecutive year, one each year in consecutive years would be kind of unheard of in a sense. But we have so much momentum.
We do. We have a lot, and I just the over exuberance or the overconfidence in. I feel for myself, the overconfidence of feeling like, oh, I'm a genius. I'm such a good stock picker. It really isn't the case. I feel it's a false sense for me, and I gotta always feel like there is that other shoe that's gonna drop. And I got the reminder last year, whenever it dropped back, it pulled back 70% in my holdings.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's the reality check of things. And some people may or may not have ever experienced that. I've personally experienced. I felt that number move.
Mm-hmm.
It never really affected my pocketbook. Or anything along those lines.
Right, because you're not living off it. That's just your down the road money.
Exactly. And it's, my target dates are further out, further down the road. My goals are set for certain time frames based off of my age. The part that gets me is that I look at these things and the numbers just are unreal. In a literal sense, they are unreal what we are seeing on these numbers, and what we are projecting for these numbers or what I project for these numbers are just unfathomable in the short term to midterm, I would say. Midterm being, 6-8 months from now.
Yeah.
They are unbelievable in my mind.
Well, so let's go over a couple of scenarios that people I've read about and people talk about. You have obviously interest rates not staying low, but
they've committed to that for at least through 2022. We're in 2021, so all the way through 2022.
That's what I'm saying. So that's not happening, and even when it does happen, then it's not going to be like they're going to raise it,
5%
a day. It's going to be a gradual thing. You're going to see it
quarter percent type of things.
You just see the growth kind of slow. It'll be there. So I really don't see the interest rates on there, and I actually don't think they're going to end up doing it next year either. I think they push it out even more. Housing, maybe. I mean, we're looking at housing has been another unbelievable growth.
Unbelievable.
You look at the housing market itself, the building market, lumber's been out of control. Maybe that's another bubble that's there, but I mean, interest rates are so low there that people are able to buy larger houses, borrow more. Is the next Black Swan event? Is it going to be some sort of
aliens
civil war? Well, aliens are out, dude. We don't even have to talk about that. It's already been there. Aliens are out. Look, that's the thing that kills me.
Cat's out of the bag on that.
That kills me that we are not talking. Okay, I'm going to go a little on the side of craziness here.
Yes.
I ain't crazy. How is nobody talking about aliens?
Well, it's been confirmed, right?
What?
No big deal.
I don't care.
No big deal.
Look, the U.S. has come out and said, one, okay, we have UFOs. We have craft from another, out of this from our planet. Right? Like, it's aliens. We have UFOs, actual crafts that the U.S. government has knowledge of. They just came out again with some other thing about the fact that they're going to put a whole dump of all this alien information that is out there.
Yeah. It was already supposed to be released. Some people already have it.
But we don't talk about it. What
we
else
don't
do we
need to. We've all seen Independence Day back in the 90s,
I want to know. What am I missing? I want to know about this. How are we not doing it?
Do you really want to know?
I do. I want to know who's an alien, who's not. I know I'm not.
I'm not. Well, okay. Maybe I have some alien DNA. What do you think?
Definitely. He's showing me his peeling back. He's got a little lizard skin. He's showing me right now.
Well, I breathe through my eyeballs, so that's no big deal. Everybody does that.
But aliens, dude, how are we not talking about aliens? We got a little off subject there, but anyways, like, okay, so aliens come down. Great, yeah, that'll probably be some pullback. People will be scared.
They'd freeze the markets, though. That would be the case. So you wouldn't be able to buy or sell anything at that point in time. But would you really want to? I mean, would you need to if aliens come down?
I don't even know. I'd be like, do you guys accept Bitcoin?
Yeah. It's this cool thing called Bitcoin.
Hey, bros. They'd be like, yeah, we've known about this for years.
Yeah.
No, the other one, and this is an actual concern that I have in like the back of my brain is civil war.
Yeah.
Just because we're such a divided nation. You got your Trumpies and you've got your Antifa basically coming on either side to, the far left and the far right's kind of going at it. And it just, our nation is completely divided. There's so many things that are crazy. COVID. Does this next strain turn out to be worse than the first one? It's not supposed to be, but who knows? This is kind of the same time frame as last year that kind of was, really taking hold. But we're opening up schools now.
Yep.
Even though we have cases that are higher than they ever been. Yeah, this is directly affecting you.
Yep.
I mean, restaurants are starting to open back up.
Gyms
are open back up.
Loving it.
So it's like, I'm all for it. Like, get back to it. But, this, go back in time, and if this comes out to be, this one's worse, what do we got to do? So does that affect?
Did they burn all the medical capital too? I mean, are we looking like all these medical warnings that come out? Okay, they've been out every year, but for some reason this one was big. This one was worse than every other one, and maybe it was. I'm not a genius. I don't know. I'm not an epidemiologist or whatever it is that matters for determining, how these things work out. I just know that
Bitcoin's ripping. I just got to pull it up.
Oh,
past 45.
Hey, just a cool 16% growth and
moving up
in a 24-hour time frame, right?
Less than. This was last night. This was at 4:00 in the morning.
I was just looking there at what.
Over here on the side, yeah. Yeah, so that's a 24-hour ticker.
Well, that goes through 4:00, so we've got another 45 minutes until that thing. Get up to 50K.
I think we hit 47. Do a little pullback at 47. So.
Yeah, I would say this is that yes, there could be another Black Swan event. I think that the government has shown what their response is going to be whenever these types of events happen. So is there some security in knowing that? Is there an epic failure that's potential? It is. It's a slim percent, I would say,
Yeah.
because I think that what you would have is a pullback based off of an immediate response to whatever event that is that's coming up.
Right.
But the play sheet or the playbook or whatever you want to say has already been laid out, and there's still a lot of layers left that they could pull out and use. And their most responsive one, for the people at least, or for the markets, I feel, has been those direct payments to the people. And if that continues on, we could see an extended run well beyond 2022 with overall growth. What do you got?
Oh, I'm just seeing if there's any information for the next stimulus check. I heard it was supposed to be coming out this week. This was today. Let's see. I don't want to say. It doesn't say. I read somewhere that they're supposed to be getting it out this week to people. So I don't know.
The idea of it is better than possibly the delivery of it. I mean, in all reality, the markets have responded last week once they made the deal, or once they started to finalize the deal of moving it forward for getting the stimulus checks out to the people. It started the market turnaround from the previous week, in my mind, at least.
Yeah.
And so things are kind of moving the way that they're supposed to right now. Do we have another week or two of this continuized green growth? I
Sure.
can't. It's possible.
Like I said, moving up to March.
Man,
Hit 4,000 S&P in March, and then we have a pullback.
yeah.
5-10% maybe. What would that be down to this back into here? 8%.
So back to last
37
last week.
Last week.
I mean, it's one of those things where if you were to track it and see what your overall holdings are doing over that time frame, and just have some calm patience with things, you'd realize, okay, it responded negatively to this, or it responded negatively to whatever's coming down the pipe. But it more than likely will come back, and if it doesn't in the time frame that people want, then we overall get some type of action from the government to help move it along.
Well, and you look how fast it rebounds. I mean, this was off of March, and you get these, pullbacks. But, I mean, within a couple weeks after that, it's right back to where it was at before. So, unless there's something, unless we see something that's like a major, black swan event, I don't see the overall trend of this going up subsiding. So,
well, we had that. When was it? The Trump push after he got elected. It was from that November election of Trump till some point in time back in 2016. What is the run for Biden right now that we got from the election day?
From election day.
So November
right here.
2nd. Yeah, November 2nd.
So right about here. Although the open was down here, let me put it on the open. 18%.
Just a cool 18%.
Just a cool 18%.
Through February, whatever. February, what day is it today?
It's the 8th.
Jeez Louise.
But I remember the big thing was retrace Trump.
Yeah, and it did.
Retrace Trump. We were May.
So November of 16.
Yeah, so we were right in here. It's close. Look at that.
What is that?
Oh, yeah, we actually think we were.
So he ran through.
We literally retraced Trump. Look at that.
Yeah.
We tagged it.
Tipped it. It went just below on the DAC, I remember.
Yeah.
And which was awesome because it allowed for buying opportunities for dummies like me. But what you look at, so the growth of Trump after he got elected till a certain point in time, it eventually cooled off. When was that? May of 17?
This here.
Oh, so it kept on running.
Oh, he had little dips here, like in March. Look at Feb, March up, but then we get all the way up to, basically January 18 was when we had the bigger, longer pullback. But it rebounded, and then we had the bigger dip after that. That came down into December of 18, and then we had just basically rip up until March of 2020.
So what was that growth then from the election day, that green line to the top of the first dip?
First dip?
Yeah, right there.
30%.
Okay. And that was without any major stimulus coming down the pipe. So
Nah, there was a lot of
tax
Trump
cuts.
tax cuts. That kind of pushed some stuff. There was the whole. No, that was in 18. The China talks.
Yeah.
That
Trump tweets.
Yeah, Trump tweets. So yeah, stimulus. I mean, that's actual money coming in. That's why when we go back to the DAC, this is my favorite one. Oh no, I need an exit seat. Oh, I have it on a different one. It's not on this one. Oh no, it is this one. It's going to monthly. Does it show it? No. I got to pull a different one up.
I think what we're looking at is that we have, and I say it more or less just to kind of reaffirm my own beliefs, because of everybody that I know, you probably have the most bearish outlook on markets and stuff like that as a whole. But I think your overall outlook and viewpoint moving forward, at least in the near to midterm, is that you're pretty bullish. In fact, you're full bull.
Full bull.
Full bull.
Full bull.
And I've been a full bull my
Whole life.
whole life. And I will probably be a full bull for a long time too, because I look at what's the downturn potential off of the continued growth. So say we have another 30-40% growth in the overall NASDAQ and S&P before they have a 10% pullback. Okay, you're still positive in the short term, long term, whatever.
Yep. Well, this was so this is the NASDAQ. This is kind of if you look back, this is the .com boom.
Yeah.
And the reason I like this is because there was a lot of money that came in. Lots. When you compare it to the amount of money that came in here to the amount of money, because it's all relative to GDP and that kind of stuff, of the amount of money getting pushed into it, it's very similar. And so if you look at the growth, you look at this long-wicked candle, right? You had continued growth coming up all the way up into this point in time where you had a huge pullback, and then you basically had another 2 more candles after that, and that last candle was a retard candle. Sorry, I probably shouldn't say that, but I mean, it was an insane candle that just rocketed up.
Well, you could use a retard in the musical terms, but it means, well, okay, never mind.
Nobody listens anyway.
No.
But I mean, it just rocket shipped up, and that's what we're looking at doing again, pushing the money in. I'm playing on bull for the money, playing the short to midterm that it's gonna be ridiculous amounts of cash coming in, and I'm hedging myself on that side. Will I change if something major happens? Yes. I am not a long-term holder to the point where I'm going to leave it in there through a giant dip. We know that. So
yeah,
if something major happens, I'll cut bait. I'm out. I'll jump back in. But this is what I'm looking at. If I were to be my long-terms are horrible. My long-term calls are the worst. But if I were looking at it,
and when you say short to midterm, you're talking, because my midterm is like
12 to 18 months.
Okay.
For the legacy markets. Yeah, for that short to midterm. And I think you see, I mean, that's a ridiculous amount of growth. If you look at, for the rest of the year from
it's
here.
Up to 21. 20.
That's a 70% growth in the NASDAQ. That would be ridiculous.
That
but
would be unbelievable.
If you look at that same candle down here, where it came up to this top one, that's a 91. It was 91% growth. So it's not unheard of when you have that amount of money coming in. And we've seen stuff just ridiculous. I mean, I'm looking at, I have Ocugen.
Yeah.
Right? I bought this dumb thing. You can see my entry. Let's go to weekly. It's a little easier to see on the weekly. This is not my entry. My entry, where did it go?
It was on the other one. It was at like 24 cents or something.
So 30 cents was my entry. And so if we look at that, I mean, I liked the technicals of it. Is why I got into it. And we had played this on our account as well. We made a little bit of money on it. I never did it on my personal side. I got back into it on my personal side. I said, okay, this is great. They came out with news, like that they are going to be working with for COVID vaccines and that kind of stuff out of India and whatnot, and it ripped. Well, I sold half of my shares up here, made a really nice profit, and let the other half go. This is my biggest to date. It's at, I think, what I say, 60x, 55x.
If you're at 30 cents, I mean, you're up at like my math skills are.
I think it was a 55x is what it ended up being.
Unbelievable.
Let's see. Yeah. 45x, 46. I don't even know. I can't figure it out. But it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And that's in a short time frame.
Really short time frame.
Now, again, it was a small cap, 30 cents, so they have a lot of growth that they can go on to. But there's things that are in play that are going to be pushing money. We look at Tesla.
Yeah.
We'll just look at what's happened with Tesla. I mean, it's a large company in terms of its market cap.
Yes.
And it looks extremely bullish right there. I almost want to buy it at $863, which sounds dumb because it had a split and went down. We split back here somewhere.
Yeah, no, I think Scott bought it back in March of last year or something, February of last year, and it split, and it's like, oh, neat, you just missed out on.
This is a large company, and from March it's down that low. That's not fair. Let's just go from before it everything fell. It's still up 341%, even if you take away this entire time frame.
I don't think that people can understand that type of perspective on that time frame and what that means. That's
why this money's done.
Yeah.
That's why when I look at, and I know it sounds ridiculous, and I'm not betting in the house on this stuff.
No,
but you got to play where the money is at, and the money is going into the risk on assets, your stocks, your Bitcoin, anything that your normal, everyday investor wouldn't put stuff into. Money is flowing into it, and a lot of money's flowing into it, and you got to ride it. You got to use it to your advantage.
No risk it, no biscuit. That's
no risk it. That's what the name of this one's going to be. No risk it, no biscuit.
No risk it, no biscuit.
So, well, what else you got, man?
That's about it, man. It's just been a great day. It's been a great trading year so far. As far as I say trading, I'm not a trader. I'm an investor.
It's been a great holding year for you so far.
It's been a great holding year, but it's basically an extension from March of last year. There's been a few buys here and there that I've done that have been pretty good in the short term. And a lot just one that makes me uncomfortable is that naked one where it jumped up from like the 14 cents up to, well, it just went stupid. And now it's, leveling off at
$1.15.
$1.15.
Hey, still up.
Still up. Well,
Yeah.
I sold out enough to, I think I've sold half my holdings, a little over half the holdings, half my purchase on it. And so for now, I'm just like, well, let's see if it does a moonshot. You never know. Sometimes on these crazy deals, you might get a moonshot like an Okigen or something like that maybe there's some good news that's coming down the pike. Who knows?
Well, they put a couple stuff out, but we'll see.
Maybe something else. Maybe all of a sudden they're going to start mining for Bitcoin or something stupid.
They're going to turn
naked
into
miners.
They're going to be the naked blockchain group.
Yeah, there you go.
That was
naked mole rats.
Well, I want to leave two things. One, the no risk it, no biscuit, which is great. But also, you reminded me today of you make your own luck.
Yes, that's right.
I said I was lucky, but you're like you make your own luck, and that's one of my taglines is you make your own luck, and it's 100% correct. If you don't put yourself in a situation to be able to make the money, you're not going to make the money. So put yourself in a situation to create a better financial situation for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what? No risk it, no biscuit, and you make your own luck.
That's right.
And we'll leave it there.